Good day, fish tankers. We are here at Art of Aqua, and behind me is our roving cameraman Gijsbert. Let's go in and see what they have. Right, so here we see some very nice Java fern. I've got a whole system here plumbed in, which I like. And here we see rocket killies. Tiny little fish. The male has a distinctive tail and it gets a bit of red color, so it looks like a rocket. But they are jumpers. So beware, either keep the water level well below the rim or have a lid on there. Some more healthy Java fern. Who of you consider yourselves an expert in growing Java fern, and what's the secrets to success with growing this plant? Let us know in the comment section. And now we get to the shrimp. You see them swimming around there. I'll see if I can zoom in. There we see them. And what's interesting, there's a sump underneath all these tanks. There's a couple of sumps, and the outlet that leads to the sump goes through a matten filter, that big sponge that you've seen this in the back corner. So water flows out through that sponge, and that creates a matten filter, some extra filtration that they have a sump anyway. But there's lots of tiny bits of food and biofilm that gets stuck there, and the shrimps love that. They gorge themselves on that stuff. That's why we so often see sponge filters and shrimp tanks. And here's some orange Venezuelan cories. You can easily mistake them for bronze cories if you look quickly, but you see they've got that nice orangey brown color, and you'll pay quite a bit more than you'll pay for bronze cories, of course. I don't have any corridoras at the moment, but I love them. The bottom is full of other fish in my aquariums. That's the trouble if you get into this hobby. We want all the fish, but where to put them? There you see that matten filter like outlet, some more rocket killies hanging around. And they also have an automatic water change system. They have a drip system with these PVC pipes that drip water in and it overflows out as well. And there's some very nice shrimps, and I'm not sure if these are crystal reds or red rilly shrimps. Not exactly sure. As you know, I'm not a shrimper. I've tried a mono shrimp a couple of times, not with much success, but I'm going to change that. Are these crystal red shrimps? Not 100% sure, but tell me in the comment section, IDV shrimps for me, are these crystal reds? Am I right here? But never mind that, you guys who are shrimpers, and if you're in the Pretoria, Tshwane area here in South Africa, you guys need to get here with some really healthy shrimp. There you see this looks like a fucata rainbowfish. Black fucata or blue-eyed fucata, I'm not 100% sure. And there we see a cardinal tetra with a stump tail, but he seems to be doing alright here in this tank with non-aggressive nano fish. And that, at least I know, is a cherry shrimp. I'm not that bad. And here we've got some cardinal tetras hiding behind the Java moss. Now, if you can get fish to pose for you, then let me know. I've never been able to do it. The best I could get is get the betta to react to a mirror, and that way you can get them to pose a little bit. But you see, they mostly have aqua swirl here, or a sort of a lava rock based gravel, it looks like to me. And there's some larger fish as well, as you'll see later, but they mostly specialize in the more smaller fish and the nano fish that can go in your planted tanks. And blue jelly shrimp. Just look at this big cluster of blue jellies here enjoying themselves. Question to you shrimpers: if you do a Skittles tank, in other words, you put some blue jellies and some cherry shrimp and all of these, mix all these colors together, you know, and yellow shrimp, how long does it take for them to breed out the colors and go back to just brown normal shrimp? And there's a panda cory. You can see he's very skittish because he's on his own here. That's why you keep corridoras in groups. And in the tank right next door there's a big group of these panda cories. I'm thinking he maybe jumped out and over into the next tank. That's perhaps what happened, as I try to get the camera to focus here. That's a continued thing with photographing fish in stores. I see even the guys that have got the real fancy cameras struggle with it. That's a bit better, but really nice, healthy little panda cories. I've seen panda cories quite a bit every now and then, but they're not always healthy and in this kind of condition that you see them in here. Look at the shrimps feeding off that matin filter. So sponge filters and shrimp tanks seem to be a very good idea. And here we have, everywhere in the shop, you've got a plethora of baby bristlenose plecos. Here we see some snow whites, and there's a shrimp enjoying himself on the botanicals. That fork obviously had a piece of zucchini on it. And here we see mum and dad. Just look at that beautiful long fin snow white pleco. What a nice looking fish. It looks like an Asian dragon. You see what the forks are used for, is to make those zucchinis, like you say in America, or down here we just call it baby marrows, to make it sink. Guys, please share the content among your fellow keepers of fish and aquascapers and aquarium keepers if you think they'll find it interesting. We're trying to build this channel which enables us to do more of this stuff that we're doing now. Harlequin rasboras, two nice sized ones as well. You can see they're in good condition. A very nice shoaling fish for your upper part of your tank, and some more shrimp. So if you ever, I made a video about shrimp safe fish that you can find on the channel. If you ever wonder if what fish can go with shrimp, come here and go to Art of Aqua. Down in the Cape we've got McMarva, but up here you guys have this shop, and you'll see there are many tanks here with shrimp and fish mixed, and you'll quickly get an idea what can go with shrimp and what can't. The golden white cloud mountain meadow, and you'll see they leave a lot of decaying plant matter in the tanks as well, because the shrimp feed off it because of all the biofilm developing there. There's some chocolate shrimp, and here I'm trying to get this is a red scarlet baddis, and I've zoomed in now, but it's a tiny little fish with a cichlid like demeanor. I think it's on my bucket list of fish that I'll have to get to in my fish keeping hobby. Some more. These look like almost like the blue-eyed neon rainbows. I'm not 100% sure. They look a little bit lighter in color than the ones I have. They could still be coloring up, or it could be a slightly different species. But small little rainbow fish. And of course everybody likes the CPD, the celestial pearl danio, or also called the galaxy rasbora. And these are very, very healthy specimens. You can see they're nice and thick. They've got full bellies. You know, when you don't want them and they've got that S form with a hollow belly. That's what you want to stay away from, because I found when you sit with columnatus somewhere down the line, you want them like these. Very healthy. Guys, please smash that like button. I always appreciate that. And look at some decaying plant matter, and here's another big old bristlenose pleco. You can see the dominant male from the bristles on its face, and he's enjoying himself there in his little pleco cave. some profiles as well over the top of these tanks. You can see what the system looks like. It's a rack, and then downstairs underneath there's a sort of a flat, a low boy sump, if I can call it that, and it flows out through that mat and filter intake and out and back and returns to the tank. On top of that there's also automatic water change system. Here's a Venezuelan, oh no, these are just ordinary bronze gories. Yep. And look at that little black shrimp scuttling about. This is something that I've seen now for the first time in South Africa that I've seen these panda gara. I know they're fairly common in the US, and we have gara rufa I've seen quite a bit here, but I haven't seen these panda gars before. Wouldn't mind trying out those. That's the thing when I travel sometimes and I'm up in Johannesburg or in Pretoria like today, I can't really buy fish and take them on the airplane back to me. I have a website, so I'm sure I can order online and have them delivered. But it's probably for the best. My budget will get blown and I'll end up on the street because of this hobby. Anyway, some neon tetras. And look at all these juvenile long fin bristlenose plecos. So they are going to order bristlenose plecos in, well, these of this variety anyway anytime soon. They're breeding all over the place in the shop. And of course here we have the green neon tetra. A little bit smaller than the neon tetra, not as chunky. And you can see the red goes all through the lower part of the body like a cardinal tetra, but it's a more opaque red, more sort of a pinkish red. Not that strong color of a cardinal tetra. And of course Otocinclus, my favorite algae eating fish for small tanks. They get rid of that plaque type softer diatom algae. Not much good with hair algae though. But that sort of algae that I've mentioned they'll keep under control. Some nice crypts going in there. Everywhere there's little shrimps, and there on the glass you see an assassin snail. Get rid of the other snails and then you have a singular snail problem. I love these horned nerite snails. I've never kept a horned nerite before, but they tell me that they don't lay that unsightly sesame seed like eggs that the other nerite snails leave in the tank. Those of you who have kept horned nerites, let me know, is that true? Do these horned nerites not leave, the females at least, not leave all these eggs all over the aquarium? Anyhow, when the white cloud mountain minnow, just seen, and these are the ember tetras of course. Nothing new about them, but they're nice little fish. Not too much of a headache to keep. And these tetras are of course Kerry blue tetras. They're very similar to the emperor tetra. I'm just trying, a very nice male there. I'm trying to focus in on him. There you see him protecting his little turf there. There we have him in focus. Look at that color on that guy. There you can see it. Very nice color on this tetra. Beckford's pencilfish. It's a sort of larger pencilfish, not as tiny as some others. The nice thing about pencilfish, that's also something you have to keep in mind, they have tiny mouths, so they're shrimp safe. But now you've got to remember, you've got to really feed them tiny food as well. If you don't crush up the flakes or use really tiny nano pellets, they might starve. So you have to keep that in mind when feeding them. And of course Congo tetras, so you can see the males, these are still juveniles, not fully grown, but the males have that nice blue, greenish coloration and that white edging on the fins, and as they grow bigger and older, they have these extensions on their tail fins, their caudal fins. I kept them years ago along with some rainbows in a big tank. Loved them, were beautiful fish. Constant movement, and you can see the females are more drab. And when they're smaller, the color's not developed yet. Look for white edging on the fins. Those are your males. And here's some thread fin rainbows. Look at how those males are displaying. Just look at those fins. Really, really nice. So you do get small rainbows, guys and girls. You don't always have to have the red rainbows and the Busmani and the Lake Kutubu rainbows. We require bigger tanks. If you don't have a big tank, then these are rainbows that you can keep. Okay, and this is a tetra that's sort of newish in the hobby in South Africa. It's got that nice blue color, and that is the Blue King tetra. I hope I read that name right now. I haven't got my reading glasses. But an interesting tetra. And here's some more different tetras. These are lemon tetras, still smallish ones. They still need to grow out. And there you can see, look at these guys, it's just sitting there. It looks like a sort of a loach to me. I'm not 100% sure what this is. You can comment and ID them for me. They're almost goby-like. Speaking of which, we'll get to that later, but here's some bigger rainbows, along with the Congo tetra. Some really nice rainbows. Look at that orange one there to the right of the screen. I think that's an Axel rodi. And look at this one here in front. There's an Emperor tetra at the back, but you've seen enough of my Emperor tetras. Let's not spend time there. But some nice bigger rainbow fish, really beautiful. The rainbow fish, I found these rainbow fish, these bigger ones, they do like a bit of minerals in the water. So try and keep the pH up above, just above 7. If your water is very soft like mine, use something to buffer, like crushed coral or some alkaline buffer. And look at the Pakistani loaches. You guys in the States call them yo-yo loaches, because if you look at them from the side to those markings, and you're about 3 drinks strong, it looks sort of like it spells yo-yo. And we call them Pakistani loaches here for some reason. But you can see how they like being in a group. They're constantly interacting and they've got this clownish behavior. It's a very nice fish. They'll get rid of any snails that you might have if you don't want snails. And they don't become as huge as the clown loaches. So it's a more manageable alternative to the clown loach. And some green Kubutai rasbouras. Nice little fish for your smaller tanks, and it looks very good in a good aquascape. Can be very striking, believe it or not. It does contrast with the green plants. Some more Beckford pencil fish. There you see a CPD swimming around, some ottos. Nice biofilm and algae on the rocks for them. Look at those shrimps at the back. Some mono shrimps playing around, plenty of them there on that matin filter again. There you see the CPDs are busy in the Java moss, no doubt, spawning from time to time. And this is the chili rasboura. They color up very, very nicely. Once they're in a planted tank, you need to keep them in a group, bigger the better. And if your eyes are like mine, you have to put on your reading glasses to see them. I think they're great little fish, but this really tiny nano fish, it just becomes a little bit too small for me. There's once again, look what's sitting on that stump. I was talking about gobies, where the fish that I couldn't ID in that other tank were loaches or gobies. I could be gobies, but here you can definitely see these are gobies. And I haven't seen these ever in South Africa before. I know you get them in the UK and some places in the US. Very cute little fish hopping around on rocks. And let's see if we can get a better shot. There you go. This is in fact a gold neon goby. I've asked Francois here, one of the two brothers that own the store. This is a gold neon goby. Guys, tell me in the comment section, have you seen them here in South Africa or not? And some gold laser cories. That one's got an injury there in a spot of fungus, but I'm sure they'll be treating him. Very nice cory, heavy on your pocket. Has anybody spawned these gold laser cories? A really nice looking cory, I must say. What strikes me about the store, the condition of a fish in general is very good. And they're kept properly, you know, they're kept in the right sort of environment for whatever particular fish you have. Okay, and we're finishing up here with the cories. And then they also have discus. There's a tank here of some juvenile discus fish. A nice tall tank. Discus is not as complicated as I would have you believe if I tank bred discus. The temperature must be high, 29 degrees Celsius. I think that's about 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And you have to keep them in a group, and you've got to feed them properly. And now I've also got this greenhouse here in store, where they're growing some emerged plants in this moist greenhouse, and also submerged plants being grown immersed, and also some immersed plants that grows in paludariums and vivariums that they also have here. There you can see those kind of plants as well. And some of the smaller scapes that they have here. Look at what they've done with the wood. Very nice hardscape that you see over there. You can see the shrimps are thriving here, starting to carpet. Just look at that little fellow go. Some smaller terrariums, a bioloark, however you pronounce it. And look at this nice little scape. I like a strong hardscape like you see here. I believe these are elephant skin stone. Stainless steel tubing, look at the red. And obviously you have CO2 injection here. And there you see the chili rasboras, what they like in a properly planted tank with a proper light. CO2 going out. Here's a little, I think it's, there's some water there, so I suppose it will count. No, that's a terrarium. Here's some nice lilies in the scape. The lights aren't on at the moment, unfortunately. And at the back, this is the coup de grace. I've got this 80A room with these 80A scapes. Beautiful setups that they've got here. This is a 90p that we're looking at. And here is a cube. All the 80A stuff. It's very high end, very expensive, but I think it's on every fish keeper's bucket list. And this is a 60p, a 2-foot tank basically. And just look at what can be achieved. And here's the 120p. This is the 4-foot size. A bit more than 55 gallons, because it's a little bit wider from back to front than your normal 4-foot. And I think a 4-foot, this is my favorite tank size, to be honest, because you can keep most everything in here, and you can make a really impressive scape, and the aspect ratio works. If you make it bigger than that, it becomes too long to photograph properly if you're a contest aquascaper. And just look at the hardscape and all the intricate detail of the plants and the shrimps, how it all comes together. And here you see this is still being done, and these are on glass stands where you can see the actual equipment. Those are 80A filters. It's a very high-end canister filter. It is sort of like those fancy pots and pans where people used to put them on stands in their houses. And here you see you've got a little paludarium going there. with a mister, a demister, that's in your car, a mister. Look at these nice little terrariums. You know, why not replace all the lamps on your tables in your house with these fellows? I must say, I kind of itching to do something like that. Well, that's it, guys. As we look through the dry goods here, and there's quite a substantial bit of dry goods, please go and visit Art of Aqua if you're close to Tshwane, Pretoria. The guys are doing a great job. And this is where I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. And please remember to subscribe. Thank you to all of you who did. I appreciate it very much. And until we see each other again, take good care of those domestic denizens of the beach.